Well, hello there, how is everyone? I hope you're all well, you beautiful, beautiful, amazing, wonderful people, and it's the weekend, baby. That's right, it's Saturday, and as normal, our things haven't gone to plan, but look, it's by and by. I need to get straight into some meat and potatoes this morning because, look, we have spoken about the Idaho 4 case for some time, and a lot of the time we've spoken about people, just things, spitballing, going over stuff. But sometimes things happen, and you do truly have to look at them and contemplate what that truly means. And what do I mean by that? Now, there is a case in Idaho. Some of you who have been around this channel for some while, we've spoken about it multiple times, and that's the Georgian Alan Kayla case. And what is the relevance to this? Now, I'll tell you what the relevance is to this. Now, when you look at the Idaho 4 crime, I call the Georgian Alan Kayla case the Idaho 4.2 sort of case, because they are very, very similar. And by very similar, I mean that this is a perpetrator who has gone into a property and they have massacred 4 people. Now, that's the fundamentals of these two crimes, okay? Now, if you're of a mindset where there is no bias, there is no favoritism, there is nothing. This is just about a system, i.e. law enforcement and the law and the criminal procedure. If that is not about sort of looking at specific people differently, this is just about a human life is worth what the next human life is worth. Okay, everyone's equal, everybody's the same. So it doesn't matter whether you kill someone who's Hispanic, say, or someone who's American, and I use this term lightly, and I say the same as if you kill someone who's 17, it's no different than killing someone who's 25. The fact is that you're going to be dealt with exactly the same, because it's not looking at the intricacies of the crime, it's just the crime. Murder's murder, and that's it. So the system should be gauged in a way that people are dealt with regardless in the same manner. There is a structure, there is a system in place, a system that is not bent as fuck. So, look, we've got Idaho, and we've got these 2 cases where somebody goes into a property and they massacre 4 people. Albeit, there are differences in what led to them. But in most things, there's a catalyst, like cause and effect, isn't it? For every action, there's a reaction. So in both of these crimes, was there an action? And in the Idaho 4 situation, is it that we just haven't seen the action that caused the reaction yet? We can speculate around that case and say, hold on though, because if you remove Brian Koberger from the mix and start looking at other places around here, then there are things that could be that cause and effect. We've got narcotics in the background bubbling around. We've got fights with the fraternities bubbling in the background. We're going to stick a pin in that in a second, because this is where this now gets complex, because in the Georgian Alan Kayla case, there is new documents. Now, they seem to be doing this case very, very differently than the Idaho 4 case. Now, the last batch of documents was reference where the defence had requested all discovery. And boy, did they get it. They got it. And this is being dealt with completely different. This seems to be proper. This seems to be just. This seems to be right. Where they've said things such as, they initially said this was first-degree murder. In the Georgian Alan Kayla case, first-degree murder. He went into this property with the sole intent to kill all 4 of these people. Well, one of those counts has now been changed, because what they're saying is in the Georgian Alan Kayla situation, that wasn't necessarily factual. They certainly haven't proven that to be factual, because his issues, his anger was with one specific person in that house. So was it that he went in there to murder one specific person? You can't turn around and say that there was a pre-existing or a prerequisite to first-degree murder if the sole intention initially was to go and kill one person, and it just happened that the rest, either they tried to jump in, tried to help, and it was a very different situation. And it's the same with the Idaho 4. We don't know. Now, they're trying to push that Brian Kohberger, for instance, went into this property with the intention to kill these 4 people in their sleep, and they keep pushing this, they were killed in their sleep sort of thing, but we don't think that's the case. But it's important why they give the perception of that to the public, so they can feed us with this first degree murder intent to go in there and murder everybody in there, not that this was potentially an escalation of a situation that resulted in this and 4 being dead. That might not have been how this was supposed to play out at all. That might have not been what the initial plan was. There might have been a completely different set of circumstances that led to a catastrophic event, not just some solitary murderer who planned this in the dark, looking in the bushes at windows and entered this house to do this. Anyway, why do I say it like that? Because, again, the George and Alan Kayla situation, they seem to be given everything that's needed. They do seem to be tweaking things where they need to be tweaked. You know, if he didn't go in there to specifically kill everybody but one person and the rest is history and collateral, like what we've spoken potentially with Ethan and Xana, even though I feel more like that they were potentially the primary targets. But they are adapting things, they are moving things, and the discovery is extensive. The last information that was put on there, which I'll put on the screen here, there was 19 documents that listed every single thing that they had, and it was a crazy abundance. But my question to Idaho, my question to Latah County and all of the people involved in this is, why are we seeing such a disparity between the Idaho 4 case and the George and Alan Kayla case, the Brian Kohberger and George and Alan Kayla? Why are they being treated so differently when at the heart of these 2 crimes, they are almost identical? Something happened, or there was a person who went into a property and it resulted in the deaths of 4 people. Now, you can't bring age into it because the ages of 2 of the people in the George and Alan Kayla situation were youngsters. They were young teenagers, and then their parents. Now, is it because they were boys and not girls, and we've got pretty blonde victims in this, and that just makes it more sellable? It makes it more, of a front page hit? Is that why we're seeing it being dealt with differently? Or is it because in the George and Alan Kayla case, you know what happened there, you know that he did it? The issue that you have now is you don't know what his intent was, and you're struggling with understanding the complexities of how that could have been prevented and the part that law enforcement played in his mental state being exacerbated to the point where he felt that he had to protect his family at the absolute extreme. And I'm not saying that what he did was right, but this is something that has to be considered in law. Why did this person do this crime? And were there mitigating circumstances? And could it have been prevented? Was he backed into a corner and he had to kick himself out of it? While over here in Idaho, in Moscow, Idaho, we've got a situation where you have other factors, where you've got the pretty blonde girls and you've got the University of Idaho in the background. So you have to hide everything, because if something comes back and bites you on the arse, it's going to look bad. Like this over here is all out in the open. But over here, why is it so quiet? Why is it being hidden? Who's it being hidden for? Do you not value life the same across the board in these 2? Or is it just because this is a different office than this one and they handle things differently? So does that mean that the law is not infallible? The law's a joke, I believe. The law's a joke. It depends on where you are. You can be in one postcode and at work one way, and it can be in another one and at work another. This should not be the case. Law should be a straight line across. And that's what we're seeing here. We're allowing and watching the powers that be adapt the law to fit what they want. at the expense of someone's, initially, their reputation, but as things progress, their future and potentially their life. And some people are doing it, and they're using this sort of stuff for entertainment while watching it and think that that's okay. Where are you with it? Why are these being treated so differently? What's the difference between the victims in Majorja and Alan Kayla's case and over in Moscow, Idaho, in the Brian Koberger situation? Why should the law be different in these two cases, and why should what the public get to see be different if the value of the lives that were lost within it are equal? And if the law thinks in both of these cases that the fragility of their case is intact, it's not under question, there isn't an issue there. Let me know down below. I'll catch you all in the next one.